Hey guys, what's up? So in this video, what we're going to be talking about is a really important and crucial topic that I'm pretty sure a lot of you, especially beginner and even intermediate designers, have struggled from. And that is building an attractive portfolio as a beginner. And obviously that leads to actually finding work, because most people know if you have good experience or if you have a good portfolio, then it's much easier to find work compared to, let's say, if you don't have a portfolio or if you don't have work experience, it's relatively much difficult. So I have this question that has been raised about, like, again, the designer not having sufficient portfolio or not having real world portfolio, actual portfolio, and they just have concept projects and stuff along those lines. And that has been a struggle for them to actually find work. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to build an attractive portfolio as a beginner. There are 4 key things that we're going to be talking about in this particular video, which are creating concept projects. Number 2 is putting yourself out there. Number 3, networking. And number 4, creating sellable assets or products. So let's talk about them one by one. Each one of them can actually warrant its own video. So if you actually want me to break down these a bit further in a separate video or a dedicated video, I can do that as well. First thing that you should be focusing on is creating concept projects. And you don't need a lot of concept projects. Just 4 to 5 detailed projects would really work well if they're top notch. Now, this is really important. A concept project is not just, let's say, you creating a single page of a mobile application or 2 pages or the onboarding, 3 pages of the onboarding experience of a mobile application. That's not a concept. You can consider that a small project or something along those lines, or let's say a single landing page or something, just 1 page, and you're posting it on your Behance or something along those lines, or Facebook groups. I see a lot of people doing that, just creating a login page and saying, like, oh, rate my work and stuff along those lines. If you want to do that, by all means, go ahead and do that. Those smaller things definitely help you improve visually and aesthetically, and it helps you develop your style. And those are great fillers and fluff for your portfolio, but those wouldn't actually be considered concept projects as a whole, or things that you actually want your clients to see, because you're not actually showing a lot of value. You're maybe showing your aesthetic preference, and that's fine. But in order to get work, you need a lot more than that. So ideally, what you want to do is you want to have detailed projects that ideally are solving a problem or are solving a particular flow in an already created application. Maybe you want to improve that flow, or are, let's say, solving a need of certain users that currently exists in society, and it can be a small need or something along those lines, and you're basically solving that as a challenge, and you're demonstrating the way in which you're doing that. That may include some research, identifying the problem, obviously, understanding the users that you're solving it for, and then presenting the solution. And ideally, what I would recommend is you should create projects in the field that you're interested in. So for example, if you're not interested in getting work or working in the e-commerce field, or let's say you're not that focused on mobile projects that much, you just want to do web projects, then again, just obviously focus on the web project side of things if that's what you're interested in. Focusing on a particular platform, whether it's mobile or web, or whether it's, let's say, a particular niche, like for example a SaaS product, or anything for the creator economy, or anything like an e-commerce marketplace, or whatever it is. If you focus on that, it's much easier for you to digest all of the nuances, understand the user patterns, understand how things work in that particular domain a bit better, and it allows you to invest yourself and learn a lot more easily in a quick amount of time, rather than actually consuming different types of information, different patterns, and all of that stuff for different sort of design challenges. And it basically reduces the quality of work that you're able to put out. So I would say ideally focus on first of all, a platform, and then focus on a niche in that platform. And you don't have to niche completely down, like whatever you're comfortable with. Obviously, as a starting designer, you don't really know what you want to work on. So in the start, you can maybe explore a bit of different projects or something. But if you're interested in a particular niche or a platform, that would be much more helpful for you to produce quality work, because it would be much easier for you to understand that particular domain much easier, rather than understanding the different patterns and user behaviors of different types of domains. So that's that. Once you've actually created this project, obviously you should demonstrate your problem solving capabilities. These projects are ideally solving a problem, addressing a user need, or solving an already existing problem in perhaps an application. It's a redesign for a reason. And those reasons should be apparent, because if you're just doing a redesign just to make that particular application look pleasing, that's not a relevant solution, because who knows, an application to you may not be pleasing enough, but it actually delivers result, and that's sufficient. Maybe a pleasing or aesthetically pleasing looking application is not delivering results. So you need to understand, is there a problem that you're actually solving? And if there is, first you need to identify it. Ideally, talk to a few users who share that particular problem to understand the problem a bit better, and then talk about why you're doing whatever it is you're doing, and then showcase the solution. And these can be done really quickly. You don't have to you don't have to do a research of 50 people or something along those lines. Just doing that initial bit helps other people understand the type of person you are, the thought patterns that you have. It helps them understand that you're a critical thinker, you know how to identify problems and then how to solve them. Once you've actually done that, you need to obviously present those case studies or concept projects in a digestible manner. You need to focus on your output. Don't focus on how I've researched, let's say, 50 individuals and these are the user personas and all of that stuff. I define the problem, identify certain users who are facing those problems, and then define why you're particularly interested in this, maybe, or just a solution. That's fine. Just like a few paragraphs, and that would be sufficient. And then show them the output. And then after the output, you can break down the method in which you actually went about this project. But again, focus on the output, because that's usually what people are most interested in. And then afterwards, you can go through the whole journey, and you don't have to present every single thing. I mean, if someone is interested, they're going to talk to you about that particular project, and then on a call or something, you can explain a bit more about that thing if you actually want to. So those are things that are really important, and that's the first thing that I want you to do, instead of just applying on Upwork and saying that I'm not really getting enough work, because you just have, let's say, 10 or 20 projects even that are just like, let's say, one single page landing page designs, like one screen of a mobile application, 3 screens of an onboarding experience. Don't do that, please. So that's the first thing that I want you to focus on. The second thing I want you to focus on is putting yourself out there. So I feel like a lot of people struggle with this because they have this ego inside of them and they want to pretend to be successful. By all means, if you want to pretend to be successful, go ahead, pretend, but it's not going to help you get to where you want. I mean, a great part, or what actually shows fortitude, dedication, and success to me, is someone accepting their weaknesses and reaching out to the world or challenging the world and then actually solving them. If you actually own your weaknesses and whatever incompetencies you have, and you actually try to solve them, you're going to be in a much better position rather than hiding them and creating a facade or a fake image of yourself. So don't be concerned about how 5 of your friends are really successful, they're running their own businesses, and here you are, a designer, not being able to find work. I mean, that's a blocker, that's a mental limitation, and that limitation is going to do nothing for you. It's actually going to be a disservice to you, and it's not going to take you anywhere. So stop that. Secondly, create a website, create a Behance profile. Once you have collected these concept projects, ideally host them on Behance or Medium or something along those lines so you can link them. So let's say your project is more composed of more visuals, so you're going to host it on Behance. If it's more composed of type or a lot of like copy and stuff along those lines, maybe Behance would be a better platform because it's much suited for reading. So let's say you hosted it on Behance. So now that you've hosted it there, you also need to create a website which is going to showcase all of your skills. It's going to talk about like the different clients that you worked on in the future. Is going to explain people like what do you do, what are your important social links and stuff along those lines. And it's also going to have thumbnails of those different projects that you worked on. It's just going to link them to Behance. You don't need to duplicate that work. This is really important because imagine if Leonardo da Vinci or like some other famous designer was creating really awesome content inside his basement and no one knew about it, and that particular content or design wasn't really adding value to anyone's life. Would it really be that important or beneficial? Or would it even help Leonardo da Vinci actually secure work or something? It probably would not. Like, why do we even want to say probably? It would not, right? Maybe it gives him comfort or something, but if no one's seeing your work, I mean, what's the use of it? So definitely start putting it out there. Once you have a website, once you have a Behance and stuff along those lines, obviously go on social media as well, whether that's Facebook, whether that's Instagram, whether that's Twitter, whether that's Thread. I would say focus on LinkedIn more, focus on Twitter more. Like, those are great places to actually build a community and actually also to get work. And obviously you're posting this already on Behance as well. That's important. You can get a lot of work from Behance as well. And engage and post this content. So for example, if you're actually creating a landing page or something along those lines, or creating a website, maybe you're posting some before, like some visuals of a particular flow. You're talking about how there's a certain challenge that you have just faced when creating that particular thing. Maybe you're creating icons for the application that you're working on. You're showcasing the icons that you've created as well, and all of that stuff. You can basically showcase your progress, and you can build in public. That's going to help other people recognize your thought process as well. And it's going to basically help you gain an audience as well. That's going to actually help you, which is something that I'm actually going to talk about in the next video. So that's really important. And again, engage with other people as well who are already posting, who have a bunch of followers and stuff along those lines. Add valuable content to them as well, so they can actually start following you as well, or other people who are following them can get to know you as well. Because the more they see you or your presence appear on the internet, the more likely it is that they may reach out for any query or work. Because if the more the people know you, the more you're visible, the more chances you're going to have to actually secure work. A lot of times I actually see people completely invisible. They don't have a website. They just have like some Figma links or something, and they're going to Upwork, wasting their time buying connects or something, and they're trying to optimize their profile, but they don't have a website. They don't have fully fleshed out projects or portfolio, like even concept projects, they don't have that. And then they're like, hey, why can't I really find work? And even the work that they've done isn't really polished. So make sure that it's actually polished at the standard of international standards or something. Again, give back to the community. Anything you learn, start giving back to the community, so you actually start creating a presence for yourself and have a distinct voice. Like, don't try to imitate someone. I mean, have your own voice, because that's something that's actually going to help you differentiate yourself from the ton of other content creators that are out there. So that's really important. That's the second thing I want you to focus on. The third thing, and this is perhaps the most important thing, which actually connects to the previous point. Like, if you actually put yourself out there, you're going to start to actually develop a network. And network is something really important, because I think I heard Chris Doe say it, or someone else. Your network is your net worth, because anything that you're actually doing is going to be, the success of that is going to be impacted by your net worth, especially in the design or development sphere of things. The more your net worth is, if you have a service, you're going to have more people that may come to you. If you have a product, if you have a huge net worth, you can sell it to them and stuff along those lines. So that's really huge. But I would say when you're starting out, apart from obviously doing all of the stuff that I mentioned previously, that is focusing on the online aspect of things, here I want to focus on the local aspect. So get in touch with your family and friends. See if they need help in design or anything along those lines. Maybe someone needs a logo. Maybe someone needs a landing page. Maybe someone needs a website. Maybe someone needs something else. Maybe they don't know how to actually use Framer or Webflow to host something basic. You can learn that. You can actually help them achieve whatever it is that they're wanting to achieve. That's also going to help you actually develop real projects, because once you actually create that project for your family and friends, it doesn't matter like how successful it is. It can be a complete failure, but at the very least, it's going to be hosted somewhere and you can show it to someone. But again, I'm going to go back to that previous point, which is a lot of people just don't let go of their ego. They don't want to contact their friends or family, and they just don't want to say that I am available for work. So if you need work, definitely get in touch with me. So that is again a limitation that's limiting you. Similarly, find nonprofits that may need help though. So these can be nonprofits in your community, like for example, maybe in your college, maybe in the area that you're in, maybe in your school or something along those lines. And the benefit of going from micro to macro, which is the third point, local to international, if you network locally, the benefit is people know who you are. They can trust you. They know your face. They can put a face behind a website, right? They know the attitude that you have. So it's much easier for you to capture this audience rather than someone international who doesn't even know these people, who doesn't have access to these people. It's going to be much easier for you to actually get that work instead of someone who's living abroad or something along those lines, or the international community, because your family and friends don't perhaps even have a website or something, or they don't even have a product right now. So it's going to be much easier for you to actually access that need and deliver it for them. So the competition is definitely much less, and the chances of you getting work is definitely going to be beneficial. The same goes for meetups and events. The meetups and events that you have locally are again going to be much tailored to you. You don't have to learn English if, let's say, you're in India or you're in Pakistan or you're in Bangladesh or wherever you are. You don't have to learn to be a really fluent English speaker to actually access this network or audience and work. Whereas obviously internationally, you have to invest a lot in that as well. So you can actually try to capture that because you already are accustomed in that custom or tradition or whatever is going on, and you can understand their needs a lot better. That's something that a lot of people don't understand. If you're already in that particular locality, you understand the problems a lot better than someone who's abroad, and you can, and other people and you yourself can actually empathize much more and resonate much more. So it's much easier for you to make an impact in that particular community. Similarly, whenever you're done doing some work, whether it's for a nonprofit, whether it's from family or friends or whatever, get recommendations, get feedback. It's going to help you improve. And if you get a great feedback or recommendation, ask them to actually directly post that on LinkedIn or directly post that on your Upwork profile. There's a feature in Upwork that actually allows you to accept testimonials from people outside of Upwork as well. So start actually collecting all of that valuable feedback and information. And also, along with this, start posting it as well. So if you actually get really great feedback on a website that you've done for your friend, post that website, and in the next post the feedback that you've gotten about that website or something along those lines. So it's going to help other people understand that you're actually doing real work and you're getting real feedback. So all of that's like really important, and include the feedback ideally at the end of your case study as well. So most of this stuff that you're doing for other people should also land in your Behance profile, and ideally should land in your website as well, and should also land in your social media, and you should create a conversation around it. So all of these things should come together and should help you actually scale your network and your portfolio and all of that stuff. The fourth point perhaps is the most important point here, which is creating sellable products. So a lot of people actually talk about how they're just creating concept projects, and a lot of people are asking for real world projects or something along those lines. So imagine you created a concept project of a SaaS landing page, and it's going to have, let's say, different sections. Maybe it's going to have a multi-page, it's going to be a multi-page website or something along those lines. Why don't you invest a bit more and actually make that a Framer template or a Figma template or a Webflow template or a SaaS landing page template or something along those lines and sell it? Like, why don't you do that? As soon as you take whatever you're creating as a concept project, whether it's, let's say, a 3 or 5 page website, and actually make it a template with reusable assets, you can actually sell it. And as soon as you sell it on these marketplaces, you can say that this is actually a real project, because this is not just a concept project. This is actually a template that I'm selling. This is a UI kit that I'm selling. This is a design system that I'm selling. This is an icon set that I'm selling. So anything that you're doing, anything that you're interested in, you can actually create or repurpose it to be a sellable product. So again, it's no longer going to be a concept project, and it also has the potential to actually start earning you passive income, which is amazing. So you can upload that stuff on Lemon Squeezy, on UI8, on Figma Marketplace, even on your own website. You can have some free stuff as well. So for example, maybe you created a single page or 2 page, and you don't really want to invest in creating a template. Host it on Figma for free. Host it on as a giveaway on maybe LinkedIn for free. Ask that, hey, I've created these 2 pages. These are really beautiful, or whatever it is, and I'm going to give it for free for the next 50 people who follow me, or 10 people who follow me, or something along those lines. That's going to help you develop that audience as well. That's going to give you greater engagement on your posts, etc. And it's going to help you be more discoverable. So do all of that. Similarly, let's say if you're interested in a particular project, or let's say a landing page that you're creating about, I'm just going to name something random, like a video editor that has an AI integrated with it. So you created a project for it because you understand that with the advent of AI, maybe there's a need for a video product that actually has AI integrated with it, which can do a bunch of things and whatever it is, like create subtitles, remove noise and stuff along those lines. So you created that. But again, obviously it's just a design. It's not a real project. Just create a landing page, buy a domain for that particular project, and actually just have a pre-sign up on that particular thing. So if you actually have a pre-sign up and you see a lot of people actually signing up for that, like let's say 100, 1,000, 5,000, who knows if there's an actual need for that particular product, what's going to happen is, and you can obviously post this stuff on your LinkedIn and your other social media channels as well. That's going to give the impression that you're actually working on a real project, and you ideally should, hopefully even in your mind, think about it as a real project. Because if you actually get a lot more signups that are actually wanting access to that, then you can actually build a case to an investor. You can go to an investor, you can say, hey, I realize, I think there's a real problem. And as you can see, I have evidence to back that up. I have these bunch of signups and people are requesting this particular thing. And I've like barely marketed it. I've just designed it, showcase it to them, and you're on. You can actually get that investment and you can start actually developing it with other developers who are actually looking to work with you. And that's where the networking part is going to help, because when you network, other people are going to know you, you're going to know other people. So you're ideally going to come in contact with a lot of developers as well that perhaps are like-minded and you really like working with them or chatting with them, and you can come together and actually build whatever it is that you want. But let's assume that this project does not work out. At the very least, in the eyes of social media and other people, you're still actually creating valuable stuff out there. You're creating things that truly matter to you. It's not a concept project. And then when you're actually showcasing it to a client, like the client doesn't know that this project is never going to launch or something, you can actually showcase it to them and basically mention that this is a project that you were creating and you were thinking of launching, and you're actually maybe even looking for investments or something along those lines. So this is just a work in progress right now, but it's going to be a real project. So you can do all of these things. You can combine all of these things to actually just go to the next level, honestly. And I feel like, again, this is something that's, all of these things are going to be really beneficial. But what I want you to stop doing is, before you've actually even done all of these things, you don't even have a website, you don't even have a good portfolio, and you're just going and wasting your time on Upwork and doing a disservice to yourself and to other clients and trying to get work. I mean, stop kidding yourself and actually do something productive with that time. And if you do most of these things, who knows, you may not even need Upwork, because you're going to start getting work from your network. You're going to start getting work from social media. You're going to start making money from these sellable products that you're creating. And if you build an audience, that's the thing about audiences and your network. They trust you. They trust the content that you're producing, and they're following you because they think you're valuable. So there's an assumption here that the things that you're going to be producing are going to be valuable as well. And you obviously need to ensure that they are valuable for the audience that you're putting them out for. So that's, again, some of the things that I actually want you to focus on. And if you focus on these, I am pretty sure, if the world doesn't come to an end, if the internet doesn't stop working, if God himself does not interfere with whatever it is that you're doing, I'm pretty sure you're going to be successful in finding work. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Do subscribe, do hit the bell icon, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.